This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
After you listen to Barbershop, listening to Straight Talk with the preacher man, Greg Fann and Shanan E. Jones, every Thursday. Tune in.
Well, welcome to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones. How you doing tonight, Shanan?
I'm doing all right, Bishop. How you doing over there?
Man, I'm doing great. The weather outside is frightening, but it's so delightful because 1 minute is hot, one minute is cold, 1 minute is cold. But listen, I tell you, for our utility bills and gas bills, they shouldn't be that high because we've had a extremely warm October.
Yeah.
And going into November is look like the weather is changing, so we shouldn't have too many high bills in October. We were talking about FACA a little later on. We're gonna have Mr. Grant on, Dr. Grant, who is the executive director of FACA, to talk about what FACA, Fulton Atlanta Action Authority, is all about and how they help and assist. And then we'll have Brother Bernard Frambrose. He is going to be talking about teachers. They want to pass legislation for teachers to be armed in school, and his disapproval of that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And, Shannon and I got other things, he and I are going to talk about, because we're talking about things around the world. All right, Shannon, you got anything you want to say before we go to Miss C?
No, let's get to Miss C. I never like to get in the way of Miss C.
I see. And she's back too, man. She's back. She just got out of the hospital, and she's doing her spot. She's live tonight. She's going to be live with us here on Straight Talk. All right, Miss C, it's in your hand now.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Listen, before I begin, I want to thank everyone for their prayers and concern. I just got out of the hospital. I was in the hospital. Then I went back in, and so I think they've got me right now. I had something going on with my heart, and so we corrected that, and hopefully I'm on the road to mending. And so anyway, thank you so much again. And so let me get to my little tidbits of news, and I want you to know that Miss C has gone global, Greg. And and I want to tell you about this. The Christian Leaders Brunch and Fellowship Gathering for a Spiritual Awakening will be held Saturday, November 11th, 11 a.m. at Good News Toronto Church, 70 McGriskin Road in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. For more information, call 416-321-2004. And you can check them out on the website at clfusa.org. They're actually going to be holding a world conference here in the spring, and we'll be telling you more about that as we go along. Okay. First Baptist Church of Fairburn will hold a community Thanksgiving service November 19th. This praise and worship service will begin at 6 p.m. And they've chosen as guest speaker Reverend Darius Cotto. He's the pastor of Hispanic Ministries at First Baptist. And they'd like for you to bring finger foods to share afterwards. I think that'd be really nice. First Baptist of Fairburn is located at 23 Malone Street in Fairburn, Georgia. Call 770-964-1431 to get more details. All right. The Fulton County and the City of Atlanta residents are eligible to apply for assistance for energy, rental, and educational programs through the Fulton County Action Authority. All residents who wish to apply, you must make an appointment by calling 404-320-6715. Now listen, before we go, I'd like for you to do 4 things for me. I'd like for you to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us. And you'll see those little buttons right there on the front. And thirdly, I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. We would love to hear from you. And number 4, share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. You know, sometimes it's good to keep some things to yourself, but not Straight Talk News. We'd appreciate your letting everybody know what you know, okay? And you can, and if you'd like for us to announce your event, send an email to straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And I forgot to say, hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shanan. Y'all looking good as usual. Anyway, we're going to talk to you next time, okay? Have a wonderful week.
Well, Miss C, thank you so very much as always, and we're glad to have you back. Shanan is not going to talk bad about you tonight, so we're glad to have you back with us. Hey, you know, Miss C is just Miss C. You know, I was talking to Miss C the other day, and Wednesday night. Wednesday night, I was talking to her Wednesday night. And so, you know, I'm getting ready for my Bible study. She getting ready for her Bible study. So I said, Miss C, son. She said, bye. I got to get in Bible study.
Well, I
got to get in Bible study too.
She's got an angel out there with us because AW now, he loves Miss C. And he get his church report and his news report from. So, you know, if one person I know who absolutely is a Miss C appreciator
is AW. And we just had AW come on to tell y'all to check out Miss C, check out Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher. And Greg Fann and the preacher man and Shanan E. Jones. Hey, check us out. That's what the AW said. Do it each and every Thursday and Friday. You can see Straight Talk with Shanan and myself.
That boy's cut. That man can cut some hair too.
Yeah, look at Shanan.
I think he's just taking your money though, because I don't know what you got to cut. He's just taking your money.
Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you like this right here. He's making sure my beard is in place. How about that?
Okay, I got you. Well, he's doing a good job with that.
All right, let's bring on Mr. Grant and from FACA, and I'll let you talk a little bit about some of the things that they've been doing after he gives his interview with Straight Talk. We're back going and doing spots wherever we are, so we may see you anywhere and get something from you to show on Straight Talk. Here's Dr. Grant from the Fulton Atlanta Action Authority. We'll be back. All right, Greg Fann, the preacher man. I'm here with Dr. Grant, who's with FACA, Atlanta what is it? Atlanta
Fulton Atlanta Community Action Authority.
That's what it is.
I used to be with Atlanta Housing.
That's right. So, Dr. Grant, you're now the executive director, and you've been in that place in that seat for a minute now, and you're on the board before you got to be the executive director, I understand. So, what are you guys doing? You know, we're in the winter month now, and you guys have in the past helped people with winterizing and those kinds of things, pay light and gas bill. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on now with the program and a little bit about yourself, if you would?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, as you mentioned, I was on the board for 18 years, and I served as a chair for 8 of those 18 years. And when my illustrious leader, Dr. Joyce Dorsey, decided that she wanted to retire, the board voted me in as executive director. So it's been 11 months now, and we've been moving along really well. Coming up now, we're going to have our energy assistance program starting December 1st for ages 65 and older, and then January 1st for the general population. And that's our LAHI program. It's a signature program where we assist residents with their gas bills and their electric bills. We were doing water, but the state cut the water program out. So we're looking to do more for our residents around that energy assistance. Last year, we served over 16,000 individuals. So that's 16,000 people who didn't have to make a choice of whether they were going to pay for their medicine, childcare, transportation, or pay their rent or their utility bills. So FACA now, we're also gearing up to run some programs around digital literacy, financial literacy, single parent institute with a focus on single fathers. Because the numbers of single fathers are increasing and the services are decreasing. But our goal is to teach people how to fish. It's one thing to help someone with their rent or their energy assistance, but we need to put programs in place as FACA and as partners that's going to help people learn how to fish so they can become self-sufficient, or at least get on an upward trajectory of what I call progressive growth.
We over here at the CBC, the Concerned Black Clergy, and you over here just about every week listening to what's going on and talking about what your organization can do and will do to help. How can people get in touch with you or your organization to get more information about FACA?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, they can go on our website, which is www.facaa.org. They can call the office at 404-320-0166, or they can email me directly. I mean, I have no problem corresponding with our residents. And my email address, direct email address, is hgrant@faca.org. hgrant@facaa.org.
All right, well, we're going to go in now. We're going to go into the CBC meeting and with Shanan E. Jones as the president of CBC. And thank you so much for giving us this time and this information.
Oh, no, my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Oh, man, I tell you, I'm so thankful for Dr. Grant. He's doing a wonderful job. He connects with us at Concerned Black Clergy. Every week, there's a gentleman in there named Brewster and Eddie Lee Brewster, former city councilman from East Point, who is on staff there at FACA and keeps us really like the glue between Concerned Black Clergy and FACA. But Dr. Grant comes through always with great programs to help the least, the lost, and those who would be left out and left behind. Helping folks with utility bills and all the various kinds of things, just really helping those who find themselves in the margins. So, and he's doing a wonderful job. He's the new president CEO, and he's just doing a fantastic job keeping the front office of FACA, keeping it open and exposed at the greater table of leadership. And just so thankful for the work that FACA does and for the work that he's doing.
Oh, yeah, he followed a great person in the person of Dr. Joyce Dorsey, who was she was founder of pretty much of FACA, and she retired, and he was the chairman of the board, as he said, and then now he's taking it to another level, and we want to congratulate him for being chosen as the president, and looking forward to continue to work with him as he continue to work to help the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. Now we're going to go and hear from Brother Bernard Fambro. Brother Bernard Fambro, he watches Straight Talk. He washes my car and keep my car clean for me. And every time I go to the car wash, he's always talking about issues. And this time I caught him on the spot. He said he was talking about Shanan, about the policies or the law that they want to pass that teachers can carry guns in school. He's totally against it. We're going to hear his tirade and his opinion as to why teachers should not have guns in school. We'll be back on the other side with more with Shanan Jones and yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man. Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and we got Bernard here. He's over here at his car wash. He does a good job doing hand car washes right here at Cleveland Avenue, right at Cleveland, almost at the Expressway. But I stopped by here because I give him a car wash quite frequent, but he's always talking to me about issues. And today, we're going to put him on the spot. He's going to talk about the issue that he sees that as it relates to teachers and getting guns and permits to get guns, that carry guns in school. And he's against that. And he's going to talk about it. All right, Bernard.
Well, actually, I always say, why would you give teachers guns just because the fear of kids? Why should you fear kids? Kids supposed to be raised by the parents or by mentors or by individuals that are older than the kids. Why would you do that? Why should you give the rights back to the teachers? Give the rights back to the teacher to be able to discipline your child like we used to do back in the days. And some people say, well, it's a new millennium and new this. Well, what works, don't fix it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So therefore, you still saying that it's okay to carry a gun and kill our kids. We don't want to kill our kids. We want to teach our kids. Not only that, let's give the rights back to our parents, or either put pressure on the parents, or either tell the parents it's going to be a consequence if you lacking of raising your child in what I call being lazy. You're being lazy because you want to participate in extracurricular activities that's not good for your body anyway. So I think we, the people, we need to start standing up and forcing our school system, our education, our governments to do right by us. If you don't do right by us, it's going to be a consequence. We are supposed to run our government. The government don't supposed to run us. We pay the government. See, we've gotten out of hand on that. We lost focus on that. So therefore, I'm saying, let's come together, not in violence, but let's come together in a large group, and we're going to stand and we're going to demand that things that make sense, it needs to be sense. Things that worked when we was coming up, we need to force that. We need to stop letting the government change the way we were living, change the way we discipline our kids, changing the way we live, or changing the way we grew up. Let us stay with what got us to where we are right now.
So you're saying basically, really, you're against teachers getting guns or being able to carry guns in school?
Yes, I'm against that.
Because as you see it is, the kid's jumping on the teacher, right? So if a kid is jumping on the teacher got a gun, and they're human too, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
And they got a weapon, so you say the consequences, they probably go get their weapon and shoot the kid.
Well, think about it like this. Yes,
Okay.
that is true.
Okay.
If the teacher has sacrificed, and that teacher sacrificed their education, sacrificed going to school, they sacrificed paying for the school, the grants, the loans. So therefore, why would a teacher lose their career or their life because of a student? You can't even pop the student on the hand or grab the student and take him to the office without them getting fired. So the kids know that. So the kids are going to be rebellious. They know you can't do that to me, so that's what's going to happen. So no, those teachers don't want to be in that situation to lose their careers or lose their hard work that they put into it because they can't do anything. But now you give them a gun, what sense did that make? You're going to fire me if I touch the kid or grab the kid, but you're going to give me a gun to shoot and kill the kid. Did that make sense? If you teach a child when they're little and you say, hey, don't touch that outlet, no, no, no. If you can teach a child before they can talk, not to deal with the outlet, leave that alone. You can teach a child, don't you touch my gun. If my gun laying here on this counter, or my gun is visible, or you any other gun, you don't touch it. It's gonna be a consequence. So if you can do that, you can do the same with these kids with a gun, or being disrespectful to the teacher.
Well, you know, my mom had a rule. Yeah, when I was coming up, whatever she had laid down on the dresser, whether it was money or whatever she had laid down, it shouldn't be there when she come in. Don't touch it, because if you moved it, she'll know that you moved it, and that was going to be consequences.
It's going to be a consequence.
Well, and what you're saying is, let's go back to the old land model. Let's go back to the way of being parenting. Let's go back to the way teachers can be respected, people in authority can be respected. But on the flip side, they have to respect themselves in order for kids to respect them. But I thank you so much, Bernard.
Yes.
Here at the car wash with Bernard.
Yes.
Aaron Lackey, pastor of Temple of Prayer Family Worship Cathedral, Fairburn, Georgia. Every week I listen to Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Pastor Shanan E. Jones. Yes, that's straight talk. Why don't you join us? God bless you.
That's what we do. We catch you on the spot. And if you give us your opinion, or you want to talk about something, boy, we'll put you on straight talk. And some of y'all going to be over at CBC, and you'll say, oh, Lord, he got the camera. Yeah, because we want people to know what's going on. And first of all, we want to just say to Brother Fanbro about his opinion and how he feels about it. I say it on it how I feel about it. I don't think teachers need to have guns in school. I really don't. It creates another kind of atmosphere. You have law enforcement people, you have resource officers for that. Teachers are not trained to actually really serve and protect. They went to school to learn how to educate, not to serve and protect. So you create another kind of issue with teachers and guns. So I'm totally against it. I don't think teachers need guns. I'm with Brother Frambro, and I certainly hope, they're passing all these bad policies and bad laws, and some of this stuff makes absolutely no sense. We already got too many guns out here now, but now we're going to put guns directly in the schools with teachers. Makes no sense at all.
You got resource officers. Why would you want to put them legally in danger too? I'm with Bernard. You get a teacher that feels that they have to stand their ground, and then they come to find out that they didn't have any ground to stand on. Heck, you don't want to give it to some of the teachers I'd had to deal with. Some of them, if they ain't had that cup of coffee or something, it could go left field on you, because students try teachers. But I'm reminded of something that the great mentor to both you and I, the Reverend Albert Eugene Love, would say. He'd say, "Stay in your lane." And you don't need a flight attendant on the plane trying to fly the plane and pass out Cokes and beers and chips and peanuts and blankets and pillows. You want people to do what it is that they're supposed to do. Educators are hired to educate. And last I checked, that's a full-time, hard job. It's a job of dedication. For them to have to be that and the resource officer, that and the school security, that and the bodyguard for the students at the same time is a bridge too far to me. And it opens them up to some other legal issues that you just don't want to get folks into. And so I think teachers should teach, and I think officers should be there to protect the schools. Heck, you didn't have officers when you went to school. And I remember when the Atlanta police started having the school detectives. And, but now almost every school, now they got a whole police force within the school. So now why you need are you raising, or is this an educational system? Or are we raising a parallel?
I didn't get that last comment. You kind of froze. Are we raising?
I said, are we raising a school system, building a school system and raising the form and build a paramilitary?
Well, I would say this to you. I think that you said, because you kind of froze up, but you're talking about, are we raising paramilitary? What are we doing with our kids in terms of teachers carrying guns? And this is when I was going to school, you had corporal punishment. A teacher could spank a kid if you would misbehave. And of course, we had school detectives too. That when there was problems in the school, then the truant officers, teacher who was over truancy would call the school detectives, right? And the school detective would then handle whatever the problem was, or the detective was who was assigned to those schools or that particular school. But we have moved, as you said, APD and Fulton County, and most of your school system have their own patrol. They have their own officers for their school system. So why do we now have to have teachers to have guns in school? Makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't know about you, but we love to hear your opinion about it. You can email us at straighttalk1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalk1362@gmail.com. And we love to hear your opinion about it. Or you can make comments in the chat as the program is being aired. You can make comments at that time. We love to hear from you. With all the things that's going on in the world, and as I said earlier, we already got too many guns in the street. Too many guns in the street. People are making guns, and I mean all of these guns. I just looked at the news, Shannon, before we began to tape it, and where this kid who ran over two deputies because his mother had called because he was being irate in the house, and she couldn't control him, so she called the police to come. And when they came, he jumped in his car and backed over him and hit him. I remember when Officer Green, who in Fulton County was ambushed on a domestic call down in South Fulton County. And I mean, but these officers put their lives on the line, and they don't know what they're walking into. Just like firefighters, when they go in a building, they don't know what they're walking into. But they take these jobs to serve and to protect. And I think people forget the role of public safety people, and what they are there to do is to protect us. A teacher was not educated to be able go to school to be a public safety officer. That wasn't their field. They didn't want to go. They wanted to go into a field where they could educate young minds and create productive citizens for society. So again, I'm totally against it. Love to hear what you have to say about it. If you're for it, if you're against it, we just want to know. That's our opinion. We're against it, right? Did you see the Republican debate? Did you see that debate?
I saw it.
What do you think?
You mean Dick Cheney and 3 Inch Heels? I saw it.
Wait, let's and Trump, he over somewhere else in Miami. That's with some.
He 12 minutes. He's 12 minutes down the road. Having his own rally.
Having his own rally while they're on the stage, trying to convince people they ought to vote for them.
It was the greatest sideshow. It was the greatest sideshow.
Do you think that any one of them have moved a needle for people to want to even consider them as a presidential candidate for the Republican Party?
I know that within the party, they were, I think it was CNN or one of the networks was, for all the debates, have been talking to the same groups of people from Iowa and from the caucuses and New Hampshire as they prepare for those. And so some of the people tend to have wanted to, where they were like solely Trump or maybe DeSantis. Now they're starting to talk about Nikki Haley as a viable 1 and DeSantis as a viable 2, or the reverse of that, not dealing with Tim Scott or Governor Christie, and not dealing with, but just really coming in on those 2. And then last night they asked in Iowa, what about Phil? And people say, well, like Trump, but we want to elect someone with a felony. And of course, he's facing 90-something felonies with the cases that he has on him. So there is some movement, some shifting on the, within the party, and it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of works out. But I really still look at the polling and see that Trump is still eons above both Nikki Haley and DeSantis. Vivek was perhaps the showstopper last night, not necessarily saying that he won the debate, but he angled to really fight. He's fighting for dear life because he's in the single digits. I mean, he's like, I think it was a 7 or a 4. So, folks are really not taking him seriously. My wife, my wife was saying, she said, it's interesting, if his skin were a different hue, maybe they would view him a little differently. But he was gunning for, and he was gunning for Nikki Haley. So if that tells you something, he's a very cerebral young guy. So, if he's gunning for Haley, maybe within the party, Bishop, it's looking like Haley would be the presumptive nominee if Trump is not in. So that's going to be that's going to be interesting because he gunned for her and her really alone last night.
Well, let me just say this: I don't care. He is a Trumper. He in my opinion, he is trying to support Trump for it. He's running, but he wants Trump to put him in his cabinet. That's what I see. If Trump should win, he wants to be, because he keeps talking about business and him being a CEO and how his ability to do this and do that. He's 30-something years old, bragging about I'm the youngest person that ever ran for president and all of that. And I'm like, oh man, well, okay. Well, I mean,
I believe he is a billionaire, a tech billionaire, or close to it.
Right. That's what he says. I mean, that's what he says. He may be. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying he wants to be the work with Trump. He wants to be a part of Trump's team, and because he always supporting Trump. I mean, you would ask yourself the question, why are you running against him? And I think that question was asked last night of them, and their answer was kind of flipped it off, right? But none of them could deal with the issue of abortion and what these states are doing in terms of supporting pro-life or abortion. So I mean, it's they got some stuff they got to grapple with. They really do. And
well, can I grab something before you go into that? You just said something.
Sure.
I want to grab what you just said. You said if he's for, why is he running against Trump?
Right,
he's not running against Trump because Trump ain't running against. Trump ain't been to no debates. He doesn't even think that there's anybody running against him. You know, they're no different than some commentators. So he's really not running against Trump. You know, although he's a candidate for the presidency, but Trump is not considering him, and evidently, according to the polling, neither are the voters.
Well, I think that's why I'm saying to myself, well, he's in the race to run for president.
I got you. No, I got you.
But I'm just saying that. But his whole thing is, hey, listen, you know, I'm supporting him, even though I'm running in this race. So I'm putting myself out there for opportunities to be able to move to a cabinet position or some position in his administration should he win. But I want to read this from the Washington Post, and I already shared this with you earlier. And you said you didn't have to read that to me because I think we all know that. The Washington Post says, and this was in the Washington Post on November the 5th, and it says, Donald Trump and his allies plot revenge. Justice Department take control of the Justice Department in his second term. Donald Trump and his allies have begun to map out specific plans for using federal government to punish critics and opponents should he win a second term. I think, as you said, I think people know that, but people need to hear it. People need to, understand it, that this gentleman that people are supporting is an autocrat who wants to become a dictator, who wants to dictate, and I think people don't really understand the power of a dictator because we never had to be under a dictator because we always been with a president, a form of government with a majority rules, right? When we vote, the majority vote wins. So we used to that kind of, but when in this kind of system that Donald Trump will be able to run this country, whoever the president will be able to run this country the way he or she wants to run it, and whatever they say, that's what goes. Do we really want that kind of government? Do we really want that kind of government? Because it's always stated here that he's going to go after his critics. He's going to take over the Justice Department and weaponize the Justice Department to go after everybody who is a critic of his or an opponent of his. So to put them in jail or to line them up and shoot them down like dogs. I mean, come on, man. Do we really want that? Do we really, really want that? I think people need to understand.
No, we don't.
And let me tell you something. I want to go a little deeper with this. I think people don't understand. If he becomes the dictator, I said the dictator, your state governments, your city governments, your county governments won't matter, because if he doesn't agree with what goes on in your state or in your county, your city, he can send in the troops for martial law to overtake the state or the city or the county or whatever as a dictator, because he would control everything in the United States, everything in the United States, like Putin, like Chong Jong Chung, whatever, I can't pronounce, but you know what I'm talking about, and the president of China. I mean, these people, they control everything. It's what they say, that's what goes. Do we want a person to be the president of the United States? That whatever they say, that's what we have to do? If they tell us that all our money that we have, they said that all the money that we have, they freeze in our bank account. I mean, because he can do it. He could free. They could free the president of China did that. I mean, so he could do it. I mean, because he has total power and authority over everything in his country. Do you want that? Do you really want that? I'm talking to Republicans. I'm talking to Democrats. I'm talking to Independents. I'm talking to anyone that have ears to hear. Do you really want that? If you don't want then you need to wake up.
I think we need to wake up. I also think 2025 is a plan. But I think we do have a constitution. And, I think Trump has done a lot, but ultimately his bark is a lot louder than his bite. And he can't be the first person that ever thought that the United States would become Great Britain again. That there would be a king or an absolute monarch. He can't be the first, out of leadership. He can't be the first narcissist or sociopath that absolutely thought that. He's certainly the first one that's communicated, in deeds, but not necessarily words. He says, "I alone can fix it," but he didn't say yet he was the king. But he showed that he wants to do that. I tend to have more faith in God, right? And in the Constitution of the United States, I have a great deal of respect for. But I do see, to your point, Bishop, and I don't want to minimize it at all. We are watching democracy roll. But with Biden in office, we're watching it roll back. I mean, we're watching democracy being rolled back, and we had better. We better look at that. If America is no longer a democracy, the world is really in trouble. I mean, it just really is in trouble, because as a superpower breaking down, it would be the destruction. This country wouldn't make it as a dictatorship. It would be a civil war, and it would end this experiment called the United States of America, is what I believe. Fundamentally ingrained in the American lexicon is liberty. And I just, I don't think that would be the case. But to that point, if he should become president, a whole bunch of folks should be probably grabbing their passports and taking a long tour somewhere. And some of them might need to and go somewhere else, because he's coming for them. He's going to really gun for them. And which is why I was saying I didn't need to read that, though I did see something similar to that in another publication. But he's that type. He's gonna come after him, and he's gonna go after him and try and bring him down. And that's what he's gonna do. And he's gonna do that instead of being the president. He's got a list like Santa Claus, and he's checking it twice. He's trying to find out, when it comes to Trumpism, who's been naughty and who's been nice. He got Letitia James on that list. He got our DA on that list. You got Smith on that list, and a whole bunch of judges. That judge that's there. So, and again, it's what I said last week, and I'm gonna be quiet. Listen, Donald Trump's life depends on him becoming president. If not, he could possibly receive a life sentence. 10 years in jail could be a life sentence for him. 10 years. So, to protect his company, his legacy, his hide, his backside, his family, his everything, it's being elected. All those guys we saw on the stage last night, and that lady, could walk away, not get elected, and move on to the next phase of their lives. Trump has 90-something felonies facing him, okay, and 4 jurisdictions. So it's not the same as I could just not make it this time and it'll be all right. His strategy is, I have to win or die.
Well, he's like a drowning man. That's why he's carrying on the way he's carrying on in the courts. I mean, he's a drowning man. What the drowning people fight, they fight to save their lives, right? So he's a drowning man. He's a drowning man. We know it. He is who he is. His niece said he needs to go to jail. That's his family member. He needs to go to jail. But I'm saying is that he's a drowning man because he sees, and he tried to keep it like he still got all this power, but he look at all these Democrats who won in these elections as of the Tuesday, and he sees things turning. But I just want to be clear to those people that are watching Straight Talk. Greg Fann is neither Democrat nor Republican, not even independent. I'm for who? For the people issues. Who are for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. Not the greedy, not the eccentrics, but those who care about the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. That's who I'm for. Now, if you're a candidate and you're running for local government, state government, county government, national government, if you're not a candidate that's looking out or working for the people, I cannot be behind you. And I don't mean just running, just to be running, because you want to have a title and you want to be before the camera, and the cameras are not your friend, by the way. But I want to, before we close out, I do want to throw this tidbit out. Have you heard the buzz that Adam Kinzinger, who stepped down, might be running against Ted Cruz? Have you heard that?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I heard that Gavin Newsom might be running for president of the United States. Vivek said that in an interview last night, but I didn't hear your thing about Kinzinger running against Ted Cruz.
Yeah, he may be looking at running for the senator against Ted Cruz. Now, you know, he was definitely for democracy, right? That's why he stepped down as congressperson. But him and Leah Cheney. But now there's a buzz that he may be hinting that he's going to run against Ted Cruz. Interesting.
Would the Trumpers allow that?
Well, he may run independent. What's his name out of Virginia? The senator who we all talked about, that he's not going to run for re-election.
West Virginia, Manchin.
Yeah, Joe Manchin.
West Virginia.
He's not going to run for re-election. He may have a bid run for president. We don't know with all these chapters.
He was going to lose his Senate seat. He wasn't going to beat he wasn't going to beat the guy that's running against him.
Right.
Well, why they said he stepped down.
Well, some has been hinted that he may be looking for.
What you said, I had that thought.
I
had that thought.
So let's just, we got a lot that's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eyes and the ears open and keep tuned to what? Straight Talk with yours to the great friend of President, Pastor Man, and Shanan E. Jones. And our prayers and condolences go out to Pastor Smith in the loss of his brother. We're going to keep him lifted up. And we'll see you guys next week right here on Straight Talk. Same time, same station. Oh, I ain't going to say same bat channel, but it's the same. Boy, you ain't got no sense. Well, until next week.
Will Greg get out of this? Will Shanan be able to be there? Will Miss C be able to get Greg to stay on? We'll see it next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
All right, until next week. Hey, stay tuned to Straight Talk. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to make comments. Don't forget to share. And don't forget to subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing to subscribe. Just subscribe. All you have to do is hit the button that says subscribe. And when we come on, you'll know we're on. And you can share it with your YouTube family and your Facebook friends. Until next week, you've been listening to nothing but what, Shanan? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.